Hi, I'm Kevin Hill, and today I'm going to show you just a few tips and tricks using the Detail Round Brush. I'll take these three examples and show you how to add more detail and life into the painting. Let's get started. Now, as you can see here, I have three different ideas. This is a little seascape, this is going to be a brick wall or a stone wall, and over here a large tree. So this is just completely different ideas and ways you can use the little Detail Round Brush. Okay, first off, I have a very simple seascape, and it's pretty flat. There's nothing exciting going on there at all. So, okay, of course my palette's a little bit of a mess from doing all this. Let me take a little bit of our red, black, and blue, mix these together, of course, on the detail round. You want just a little bit of paint in there. And I'm going to come in here and just slice in a little bit of a dark. And if you painted seascapes with me before, you know this dark is sort of a nice, beautiful shadow, adds a little contrast. But the detail round, especially because you can kind of see how small that seascape is, it's not very big. This is a great tool to use when you're trying to get a lot of detail in a small area. It's good for when you want a lot of detail in a big area too. There. I'm going to run a little bit of a dark. See this? You can do this with other brushes, but it just gives you a little more control with the detail round. And especially down here, you want to give it an extra little pull there to blend it and soften it. That is pretty. See how that just increases the overall effect. Makes it a little nicer. Yeah. Now I'm going to take a beautiful light pink, just red, very little bit of red, and some white on our detail brush. And that's just to give us a color that's not pure white. And I'm going to enhance some of the highlights here on the seascape. So maybe using this brush, I'll just touch right over here on the top. See, and this is what I do when I paint seascapes now. I just touch. Most of the time I just touch a little bit of extra highlight on top. See how this little detail brush just really makes that work? See the difference there? Especially right here maybe? Good. Now when you're practicing, it is so important to figure out where your light's coming from. There's no use in practicing if you don't know where the light's coming from. So in our painting today, the light's kind of coming from the left. Just to make it simple, you can use this brush. Watch this. You can use this to layer on a little bit of highlight to the foam. There. You start it with another brush and sort of end it with the detail brush. There. Good. You don't want a whole lot of this, just a bit. Just a bit here and there. You can sort of use this brush to blend. It's actually got a blend of two different synthetic hairs. So it's got a little bit of snappiness and softness at the same time, which is really cool. It helps me. I find it very, very helpful to have both a snappy and a soft brush in one. It's kind of right in the middle, and I think you'll find it a good balance. You'll get so much done with this brush. It'll be really exciting for you. There. Now, let's go right up here. Just add in a couple of little ripples and things. So you can get some very tiny ripples back here. Straighten that foam line back up. Great. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, one of the best things you can do with this brush with seascapes is add these beautiful, these little foam patterns. Let's get a beautiful blue color right here. These foam patterns that sort of rush up the wave. These are great. These are so nice. So do just a few of those when you paint your seascapes. They add a lot. You can do it with a 3/4 brush if it's a big area. If it's a small area, I definitely suggest this little detail round. There. Now let's move on to something else. So I'm going to grab a little bit of black and brown here on of course, the detail round. To that I'm going to add a touch of white just to lighten it up some. I don't want it just pure black. Roll that brush to a fine point. Okay? Now, right up in here, see I've already started just a basic underpainting of what I think is going to be a little wall, cobblestone wall or something like that. This would be perfect in, say, like an Italian landscape, and this brush is great for this kind of detail. So watch this. Just grab a little bit of your black and brown and drop in these beautiful little stones. I'm just using, at this point, I'm just using the dark to shape the stones. Now this is not, I'm sorry, there's no shortcut for this. Not that it looks this good, at least. You know, maybe there is, but it's got to look good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend just the next few minutes doing exactly this. I will not do anything else, just this. And after I do a few of these stones, you see how I'm doing this nice pattern, loose pattern. I don't want to do anything too symmetrical, but nothing too wild either, because this is a man-made building or structure, whatever this is, a bridge, it doesn't matter. This is just the stones that I'm showing you. So let me go ahead and do just a few of these, and I'm going to jump right back and show you how to add even more detail to it. Now I'm going to go ahead and just start dropping on some highlight here. You can see the color, just a little yellow, white, touch of red, but not much red. And it'll mix with a lot of this gray that we have down, which is fine. I'm okay with that. We'll keep the light the same throughout the entire canvas. That'll help us. And see how I'm just placing on a little bit of rough highlight. Rough highlight. I don't want it too crazy. If it's too flat or anything, it won't look good. So I'm placing this on. Good. So maybe as I reload, pretty much every time, just assume that I'm going to change the color slightly with red or yellow or blue. And see, I purposely drop these colors in and around different areas of the painting, or of the little segment that we're doing here. There, see how you can just paint these little stones in? This isn't super quick, is it? It just, takes some time, and that's okay. Here's some blue. A little touch of blue. You wouldn't think blue has any place around here, but it actually does, in moderation. Good. Okay, that's probably enough. On to some browns. Browns are good. There. Divide that little wall there. That's where it starts slipping into shadow. I'm going to go back here to some of our warmer yellows and reds. Just drop on some of this highlight here. Good. See how that works? This would be great in a farm if you wanted to line maybe a road with this kind of kind of wall instead of a fence. That's okay. Yes, and see how you can be loose with it. You don't have to drive yourself crazy, because you would go crazy trying to paint this perfect. I know I would, at least. This time I'm going to take just some pure black. Oh, this is dark. The reason I'm doing pure black is I have a lot of paint down, and I'm anticipating it mixing. I'm going to run this in and around the stones, creating just a beautiful pattern. Good. This is fun. I mean, it's not quick, but sometimes painting doesn't have to be quick. Who says it has to be fast to be fun? No, this is a lot of fun. Just get yourself a little cup of coffee or something and enjoy doing these rocks. Now the last thing I want to show you here is how to detail out the leaves on a tree. I have just a little bit of black, nothing but black here on the brush, although you could use black and blue or black and green. And I already created this tree with the filbert very quick, like maybe 2 minutes or less. Got to be less, actually. Anyways, the point is I didn't want to put any time into it because I wanted to show you how to take just blobs of paint, which is what I purposely did, was blobs of paint, nothing exciting. And you see how you can take your brush and detail it out. And I'm going to show you the stroke here. It's an overlapping X, just like you would paint with a 2-inch brush when you're doing a background, an overlapping X. I'm going to take a little bit of white, a little bit of our yellow, and a little touch of blue. That'll turn it into a nice vibrant green, which will be very pretty. Okay, so watch this. Light's of course coming across the same way. This brush, when you touch it down and then lift it up and pull it in a direction, it has a built-in leaf shape, just by nature of the way the brush is pointed. Do you see that natural leaf shape? I've got a ton of paint on there. Because number one, this is not a painting. I don't really care how much gets on here. Number two, if this was a painting, I would just make sure that this is a foreground object. I would not apply this much paint to any kind of background or midground object. There. Instead, what you would do is wipe this with a paper towel, which we could actually do. If you get a little too much paint on your canvas, just take a paper towel and just absorb some of that oil. There you go. That'll help. The light's coming across, and then see how you just touch? Set your brush down and flick it like this to create these beautiful suggestion of close-up leaves. You can almost see each leaf, and I love that. Now I tell my students in class, if you've ever been in class with me, I tell you each leaf must touch another. That's the rule. And what I mean by that is you don't want to do this. Let me find a spot right here. Right? This is a bad way to use the detail round brush. Instead, combine these leaves together, each one touching another, and look, it's a nice little clump of leaves. The more you touch it, obviously, the softer it gets. And this is just the way I would take a simple tree and make it into a foreground tree using this brush. This is maybe one of my favorite things to do with this brush is leaves. I think it probably is, but there's a lot of great things you can do. All right, well, I think we're done with our quick tip video for today. I hope you really learned a lot. And if you haven't already, give this detail round brush a try and practice a lot with it because it can do some amazing things. Thanks for watching.